What's up, party people? I was having a conversation with a conservative friend of mine, and he wanted to come in and talk about the impeachment. Now, truth be told, I love when a conservative or Republican wants to come talk to me about Trump because I like to see how long it takes before they contradict themselves. Because usually it's only a matter of time before they try to say that Trump is allowed to do something that every other American citizen isn't allowed to do, whether they were president or not. It's only a matter of time before they say Trump could do it, but if anybody else did it, then they'll see something wrong with it. So I enjoy those type of debates and conversations. So, anywho, he comes in, and the first thing he starts going off about is the Bidens. He says, "Oh, man, they need to investigate the Bidens. All this is the Bidens' fault. This whole impeachment thing is the Bidens' fault." Hey, hold up. Now, that's not true. All this is Trump's fault because Trump held up aid to pressure the Ukrainians to investigate a political rival in order to sway or influence an upcoming American election. So all this ain't happened because of the Bidens. All this happened because Trump. So he's like, well, yeah, okay. But the Bidens, they need to investigate the Bidens and all that corruption. So I was like, well, okay, just so that we're on the same page, what corruption exactly are you talking about? Like, what exactly did the Bidens do that you feel needs an investigation? At which time he goes into a deal with China. And then he mentions that, Hunter Biden was on that board for Burisma, making that I believe it was $50,000 a month, and he had no experience. At which case I said, well, okay, if you're saying that a celebrity or a powerful person's offspring can't get handouts because of their parents' influence, that's what you're calling corruption? Because that happens every day. Every day, a powerful person's offspring gets privilege because of their parents' name or namesake. So is that the corruption you're talking about? And he goes, no. Joe Biden was bragging about holding up the aid. He came out and bragged about it. I said, well, no, you're absolutely right. He did come out and brag about it. But the difference is that Joe Biden was bragging about holding up that aid because it was an agreement that the prosecutor wasn't doing their job. Their job was to investigate corruption, and it was agreed upon that, excuse me, the prosecutor wasn't investigating corruption. They wasn't doing their job. So how's that corrupt? He's like, no. The prosecutor was investigating Hunter Biden. And Joe Biden held up the aid in order to get the prosecutor, or in order to keep the prosecutor from investigating Joe Biden's son. No, personally, from all accounts that I'm aware of, once again, Any corruption that Burisma was a part of, which, as far as I know, they didn't find any, they're not sure if it happened before Hunter was there or while Hunter was there. So, just because Hunter was on the board, like, how would that really affect Joe Biden's son, unless the investigation comes to find out that Hunter Biden was involved in the corruption? And once again, by all accounts that I'm aware of, an investigation was launched, but they found no evidence of that. So, once again, what corruption are you talking about? So then he goes on to say, well, Ukraine got the aid anyway, and Trump never said quid pro quo. In which case, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it was already implied. As for the quid pro quo, it was already implied. Every aide done already agreed and corroborated that it was already applied. That's number one. And number two, it doesn't matter that Ukraine got the money anyway. It doesn't matter if they even knew that the aid was being held up or why the aid was being held up. Because Trump holding up that aid in order to get Ukraine to not even investigate, but just to announce an investigation into his political rival in order to sway or influence an upcoming American election. That's the crime. He held up the aid in order to get an investigation to sway an election. So anything that happens after that, it doesn't matter. Even with Trump coming out yelling to the heavens, see, Solomon said, what do you want? What do you want? And I told him, I don't want a quid pro quo. I don't want a quid pro quo. I don't want nothing. As long as Ukraine just do what they're supposed to do. That conversation does not matter. It doesn't prove nothing. Not a thing. Like, you could rob a bank, but after you get caught, you'd be like, well, I really didn't want to rob that bank. I ain't even want to be there anyway. It doesn't matter how you felt after you did it. You already done committed a crime. So like I said, once Trump held that aid in order to get Ukraine to announce an investigation in order to sway an American election, that was the crime. That's already been committed. So anything that happens after that does not matter, not one bit. Even if they talk to the whistleblower is only going to corroborate what the aides have been saying. So why do they want to talk to the whistleblower so bad? As far as I know, the whistleblower is just going to dig that hole deeper. Because at least you can say all the aides, well, except for Sondland and Pence's aide, the rest of the aides wasn't on a phone call. But if you get the whistleblower corroborating what all these other aides are saying, and he was on the phone call, how is that going to help? So why are they yelling and so upset that they can't talk to the whistleblower? How is it going to help? It's just going to dig that hole deeper. So why? Like it's so crazy to me. And then he was saying, well, yeah, that's all they talk to. They talk to the aides. They don't talk to any first-hand people. Well, I'm like, well, okay, hold on. Because the first-hand people will not come in and testify. Giuliani won't testify. Pompeo won't testify. Barr won't testify. Pence won't testify. And they're not going to let Trump testify because they know he's either going to lie or make it worse. So whatever they do, even if Trump wanted to testify, they are not going to let Trump testify because they know for a fact, and that's the thing, they know for a fact that that man is either going to lie or make it worse. So how can you complain about all this information only coming from secondhand sources when the firsthand sources don't want to cooperate with the investigation? I mean, hey, ain't that the whole thing about law enforcement? Compliance? Well, if they just comply, all right. If the first-hand sources would just comply and come in and testify, they can end this whole investigation. Explain what really happened, and that could end this whole investigation. But they won't do it. They want to huff and puff because they feel that executive privilege makes the president above the law. So to me, that's what this whole impeachment thing is about. That's basically, as far as I'm concerned, what this whole impeachment thing is about. How far can executive privilege go before it's considered being above the law? How far can executive reach go before it's above the law? And how far can executive oversight go? Because they're setting a precedent. Because best believe, any administration that comes in after this, if Trump can ignore subpoenas, why can't they? And then I hear, well, he didn't say this, but I hear a lot of Republicans arguing that, well, Trump can't be held accountable for the things he says and do because he's so unpredictable. Unpredictable is a word, you could say that, but I prefer unstable. So you're going to sit up there and tell me that the President of the United States can't be held accountable because he's unstable? He can't be held accountable to what he says or does because he's unstable. And that's the defense you want to drive to the paint with. Really? Anyway, back to me and my friend's conversation. Well, then he says, about the corruption. He was like, well, if Hunter Biden was on the board while the corruption was going on, he should have said something about it. So what you're saying is Hunter Biden should have been a whistleblower? Is that what you're saying? Oh, no. Joe Biden was just trying to protect his son. There's no evidence of that, dude. Well, they ain't give him time to investigate. Dude, they did the investigation. They found nothing wrong. Now, if they feel so confident that there's something there, then the Republicans have the right to try to hold another investigation. But as far as I know, from everything I've heard, that they investigated and found nothing. So pretty much that's how the conversation went. And it didn't take too long before he just, like I said, he came in talking about it, but then he goes on to say, well, I'm not really looking at the impeachment hearings. I just look at enough to keep me up to date on what's going on. Like, I don't know all the details. Like, oh, really? Yeah, I guess not. Okay. So that basically ended that conversation. Oh, man. But like I said, it just kills me, man. Because, like, there are so many Republicans hanging there or tying themselves to Trump's coattail. And I have no idea why. Because as far as I'm concerned, Trump is a sinking ship. He's the Titanic. He's the Titanic after the iceberg. And the reason why I say that is, look at the record number of Republicans retiring or choosing not to go for re-election. All of them wants to be home with their family now. A record number of Republicans. And then you look at Trump's administration, a majority of them are either under investigation, in jail, or have already served jail time. But this is the man you want to tie your character, your career, your morals, your ethics. This is the man you want to tether yourself to. And this man, lawyers have lawyers. Everybody has lawyers. His entire administration has lawyers, and the lawyers have lawyers. Because a majority of them is under some type of federal investigation, or have already been found guilty, or have been found guilty and already did their jail time. Like, it's so crazy to me, man. It's ridiculous. But I don't know, what can you do, right? And a lot of them say, well, they don't want to lose Trump's base. They don't want to anger Trump's base. Where are they going? If Trump ain't in office no more, let's say Trump does get impeached. If Trump ain't in office no more, what, you think all his base, all those Republicans are just going to start voting Democrat now? What, or you think his entire base is just going to stop voting since Trump ain't in office anymore? No, they're just going to vote for the next Republican that agrees with their issues. Trump's base ain't going nowhere. So what are you so afraid of? Regardless if Trump gets impeached, or if he loses the next election, or if he makes it to 2024 and serves both his terms, there's just going to be another Republican that they're going to vote for. So what's the beef? Where is his base going? But you have all these, like, I won't really say that they're risking their careers, but like I said, the precedents they're setting for future administrations. Excuse me. Yeah. The Republicans better do everything they can to hold on to that power, boy. Because if a Democrat or a progressive get in there and they feel they have the same type of executive privilege that Trump had, how you going to argue against that now? You just argued so much and fought tooth and nail for this guy to be able to get away with all this stuff. So then if another administration comes in of a different party and does the same exact thing, now you're going to see fault in it? After you just argued tooth and nail that he had the right to do it, but now they don't? And keep in mind, all this is on video. There's video, there's audio, there's text messages. Oh my goodness. It's so crazy to me, man. But anywho, yeah, I just wanted to tell you about that conversation that I had with my conservative friend today. Like I said, I enjoy those. But anywho, the next video I have coming up is I'm going to take some comments from my previous videos and try to go a little bit more in depth with some of my responses, or get a little a little bit more detail with them, because there's a lot of times I want to hold conversations with y'all, but I don't have Twitter fingers. Like, I can't hold an entire conversation. Like, I'm just, bear with me, y'all. I'm not that type of person. I'd rather really hold a conversation. But that's going to be the next video. Y'all know my consistency, so I can't promise you exactly when I'm going to get that video out. And apologies for this long break I've had, but it's for two reasons. Number one is I'm trying to figure out exactly what direction I want this channel to go. Like, I've looked at a lot of other content creators, and I've noticed that a lot of them that's been doing this for, let's say, 5+ years have started out with a particular content and moved on or transitioned into whatever it is they're doing now. For most of them, there was a transition. They're not doing the same type of content that they started with. And I'm feeling that this channel is getting to that point that I want to make it a little bit more interactive and entertaining for y'all. And I'm trying to figure out the most efficient way to do that. That's one reason. And the second reason was I took a vacation. Me and the wifey celebrated anniversary. So I took some time off. And even though all I'm doing is, just talking into my phone, I thought about doing some videos, but then again, no. I just didn't do it. I enjoyed that time. I enjoyed our anniversary. I enjoyed that vacation, man. But shoot, I'm back. Like I said, I'm gonna have some more videos coming for y'all. I don't know what, I don't know when, but they're definitely coming. And once again, 22. So I'm gonna end it right here. Once again, y'all be blessed, be safe. One.